Βρισκόμαστε στο St Raphael, ξενοδοχείο της Λεμεσού, για ένα άκρως διαφορετικό lunch break challenge. Όχι με πολιτικό, βουλευτή, υπουργό ή επίτροπο, αλλά με έναν πολύ γνωστό ηθοποιό από ρόλους του στις ταινίες View, Warlock ή τη σειρά 24, Mr. Warlock himself, Julian Sands. Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Sands, welcome to Cyprus.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
As a famous Cypriot lawyer says, this is Cyprus. You will find out very soon.
Let the games begin!
Mr. Sands, you are visiting Cyprus because you are shooting a horror film here on the island, something more terrifying than my English accent. If you got very spooked, just scream, okay?
I, as a child, was a great admirer of Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. I loved Hammer horror films.
Oh,
and,
let's make two of us.
Okay, so if I'm following in bringing that tradition here to Lεμεσό, then I'm very, very happy. It's wonderful to be here. Really fabulous. I've never been before.
Never before. As a Briton, I reckon you are familiar with Cyprus.
No.
No?
Well, familiar with something of its location and history, but not. I've never physically been here. And the big disappointment is lockdown means all the wonderful restaurants are closed. But the kindness and the warmth, the generosity of people's welcome has been very impressive. More important, what I've discovered over this last couple of weeks is the quality of the technical filmmaking staff. I thought the crew would be all from Athens or from Italy, but most are local and they're fantastic. And I feel very confident that other films will come to be made here because you've got such incredible resources, the light, the space, and the staff. You know, you described it as a horror film. Some people might
A ghost story.
Call it. Yeah, it's more of a ghost story. It's also about a family in crisis. Very good cast. And again, wonderful local actors too. But the cast has been has come together. I never met any of them before, but as an ensemble, I would go out on the road and do a play with everybody.
Can you tell us about your role in Ghosts of Monday?
Yes, I play a person who was once in his life a B-list action star. He did bad movies. And now he works as a television talk show host. But the speciality of his talk show is investigating the paranormal. So we've heard about this.
A ghost hunter.
A kind of ghost hunter, ghostbuster, yeah. And he's heard of this haunted hotel. So he arrives here to present his show, which begins, hello and welcome to another episode of Ghosts of the World. Here I am at the Grand Guga Hotel in Lεμεσό, Cyprus.
It's like the show, a crossover between a TV show that you appeared, Ghost Whisperer, and The Shining.
Yeah, something like, I would say, I think that's a brilliant analysis. There's a lot of The Shining in just the architecture of this location. It's fantastic. The space, the ceilings, the light, the height. A production designer in a studio couldn't have made this. It's wonderful.
And it's all yours. It's locked. It's deserted.
Yeah, and it's quite spooky at night.
So the sense of isolation is natural.
Yeah. As you know, I'm an actor, but what I say is all actors are reactors. So you put us in this space and you can't help but, respond in a way that is gives great production value to the film.
Okay. This is your second horror film by an Italian director after legendary Dario Argento's version of The Phantom of the Opera in 1998.
Yes.
What was it like to work with a master of horror?
Dario Argento, he's like a sort of the high priest. He's like the archbishop of the genre. And when you meet him, maybe you have met him, but when you work with him, he really does have the quality of a priest. He's not loud, he's not flamboyant, he's very considered, almost prayerful, almost spiritual in his approach to the work, and talks in a soft voice, and very impressive man. But yes, and Francesco Cinquemani, who is our director of this project, he says this is an homage to Dario because he loves Dario's films. Also touches of Ken Russell.
Yes, and Italian horror films in general, because he directed some documentaries about them.
Yes.
He's a horror fan, Italian horror fan.
So this film is being made by a fanboy, and that's...
For fanboys.
Yeah, a fanboy for fanboys. And his energy is very infectious. His enthusiasm is...
That's why he casted you. He was a fan of Warlock and Tale of a Vampire.
Yes, it seems I was surprised that he knew of Tale of a Vampire. I love Tale of the Vampire, this sort of Japanese kabuki vampire story rather than Bram Stoker,
Yes, it was a peculiar little movie. In a career spanning over 40 years, you appeared in British art house films, Hollywood blockbusters, straight-to-video horror films, and numerous TV series and stage plays. You also did voice work for cartoons and video games. To call your body of work diversive is an understatement.
Well, I've been very, very lucky to have such diversity in both the medium and the people involved, because it keeps everything so interesting. From here, I go to Hong Kong to do another film with Mike Figgis. 2 weeks ago, I was in New Orleans working with Phil Noyce. I mean, again, back to actors being reactors. You put yourself in an interesting place, with interesting people, with interesting material. Therefore, your life is interesting. It's sort of, and that is what keeps me as enthusiastic as I was when I left drama school, gives me the energy I had when I left drama school, the curiosity.
Your role of George Emerson in the critically praised A Room with a View of 1985 catapulted you in stardom, but it's from the eponymous character from Warlock and that Russian villain from 24, Vladimir Bierko, that most people remember you. Is that bothering you?
No, listen, if anybody remembers me for anything, that's very nice. But different demographics remember different things. For instance, the two girls, they're in their 20s, two actresses who are in this film, tell me that their mothers loved Room with a View and George Emerson.
And fell in love with you.
And they responded. No, it's very gratifying. For me personally, I'm not interested in the work I've done. I'm interested in the work I'm doing now and the work which is just ahead. You live in the present and the near future. And the past, is what it is.
You are often casted as a vampire or an Eastern European villain. Have you worried at some time about typecasting?
No, because if I only played vampires, or if I only played Eastern Europeans, I might be. But I do plenty of other things. So
you played a Greek soldier. Mm-hmm. You played once a Greek soldier.
That's true.
Box of Delights.
Box of Delights. Yes. That is true. Gosh, you're very informed. Look, if you're an actor, you choose from the work you're asked to do. You don't do everything, but you make your choices from what. And so it's very much about how people perceive you.
Speaking of vampires, you were Anne Rice's choice for the role of Lestat in Interview with a Vampire, yes. Which it makes bloody sense. Forgive the pun. But more marquee value needed for the role and was given eventually to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Looking back, do you consider that the turning point of your career, like things could have gone hugely different if you have landed the part?
And whenever I do a role, there's somebody else behind me who would have been cast if I turned it down, or if I'd chosen, if I had a conflict. You know, if you're an actor, and if you're a working actor, you're always, you know, very rarely is the actor you see in a role the first choice. It's all what they call jockeying for position, and it's pretty random, and I have no control over it. But I never look back and with any sort of disappointment or wistfulness about roles I might have liked to do or was considered for, but they didn't work out. I just, you know, if I look back, and I try not to look back, I just enjoy the memories of the things I did do and the people I did meet and the experiences I did have and the places I did go. You have to stay positive and looking forward.
You mentioned in the beginning the horror icons, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. You were a fan.
Yes.
And now you are considered a horror icon.
By some people. And
from horror fans.
Yeah. And when they...
Do you enjoy that role of the horror icon?
Well, you know, I sort of... I'm surprised, but I'm happy to embrace it, because I've done what's called horror. You know, to me, they're all characters. They're all different, made with stylish directors. Of course, I get asked to do lots of...
Warlock, Arachnophobia, Phantom of the Opera, Tale of the Vampire.
Ken Russell's Gothic. So these are all, you know, of course, they all get lumped together. I get offered a lot of horror films. Most of them aren't very interesting. I like to do the ones which interest me or are being directed and made by somebody who I think is a real cineast, like Francesco.
Yeah. Now, wrapping up, what people should expect from the Ghosts of Monday?
The Ghosts of Monday. They should expect to be entertained. It ain't boring. They should expect to be startled, and then they should expect to be shocked.
No, there's a twist ending. Plot twists.
There are plot twists, as you would expect in any well-crafted genre horror film, ghost story. It's not all things that go bump in the night. There's a lot more.
Mr. Sands, it was a pleasure talking to you. This is for you. It's from the show, it's the show called Lunch Break Challenge. So it's...
the healthier side of life.
Yes.
Oh, wow. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Enjoy your stay.
I have been, thank you.
And if someone tries to sell you a passport, please just say no.
I will send them to you. Good to talk.
Thank you very much.
Μπλε. Το νέο πρόγραμμα επιβράβευσης με κάρτες της Ελληνικής Τράπεζας είναι εδώ και επιβραβεύει τις επιλογές σου. Κάνε τις αγορές σου σε υπεραγορές, πρατήρια βενζίνης, εστιατόρια, καταστήματα ηλεκτρονικών ειδών και εμπορικά καταστήματα για άμεση επιστροφή χρημάτων. Κατέβασε το Μπλε Rewards App και επωφελήσου των ειδικών προσφορών. Βάλε το μπλε στη ζωή σου. Νέο πρόγραμμα επιβράβευσης με κάρτες της Ελληνικής Τράπεζας.